ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. In this video, let us examine how the master answers the questions put forth by the seekers. Because we find that the master at times gives different answers to the same question put by the seekers. So let us examine how it is. A seeker has come to a master and has asked him this question: is there a God? Master said, no. Then another seeker has come and asked the same question: is there a God? And Master said, yes. And again, third time, another seeker has come and asked the same question: is there a God? And Master kept silent. He didn't give any answer to him. So seeing this, the disciples have asked the master after the seekers have left, Master, only one question was asked by all the three seekers, and you gave different answers to each seeker. How is it? Then the master smiled and told his disciples, the first person or the first seeker who posed this question was a believer of God. So believing mind is not a seeing mind. So when he believes, he can never know the divinity. That's why I have to shatter that belief to drive him to contemplate and inquire into the facts of the existence of God or otherwise by himself. To remain in belief is to remain in darkness. So to drive him to know by himself, I have to say no to his belief. He only wants to accumulate evidence in support of his belief. That's why he came to me and asked that question. Now, the second seeker is an atheist, a non-believer in God. So when he put the same question, I have to say emphatically yes. And then, so that he will inquire whether to the existence of God, as all others believe, is a fact or otherwise, and come and know himself about the fact or otherwise. Then the third seeker is an innocent soul, a pure heart. He has come without any prior knowledge as to the existence or otherwise of the God. So he has come. So I kept silent. In that silence, he comes to know himself, and he will come again. You can see for yourself. So the verbal answer is not adequate for a true seeker, because he wants an existential answer. He wants the master to go into his inner being, inner core of his being, to awaken the sleeping soul. So he got the answer when the master was silent. The master closed his eyes and went into meditation for a few minutes. And the third seeker also closed his eyes along with the master. And in that silence of the master, something descended on the third seeker. He could experience that answer, and he could taste something descended on him in that silence. So after that silence is over, he thanked the master. He bowed down at his feet and said, Master, I got the answer for the question which I have raised. And tears rolling down his eyes. And when his eyes were shining like candles. So with that realization, he left. So the first seeker, who is also a believer in God, when master said no, came to the master again and told him, Master, since I met you and got your answer as no to the existence of the God, my whole worship has become empty. I came to know myself, that whatever the belief I was having is based on the knowledge gathered by me from others. But your insight has helped me to realize and awakened that quest in me to contemplate and know for myself the truth. So please accept me as your disciple in quest of the divinity. So this is what has happened when the seekers have questioned the master, and the master has given different answers to the same question. Here, what we have to understand is, the master certainly gives answers to the questions raised by the seekers, but he doesn't answer the question. He answers the questioner depending on his inner state and the intention with which he has raised the question. That's why we find often that the answers given by the masters to different seekers are different and appears to be contradictory. But remember, they are not the real answer to the question itself. It is the answers given by the master or to the questioners. So, in this connection, one disciple or one seeker has asked a master. Buddha said that life is misery. Is it so? Then the master told him that life is misery to the seeker who has raised that question. So he didn't answer to the question, he answered the questioner. The master did not say that life itself is miserable, but the answer is based about the life of the questioner. So Buddha also said to others when they raised a question, what is bliss? What is joy? Only rare persons asks that question. And Buddha said, yes, life is beautiful, life is joy, life is bliss. So we have to remember that when Buddha said life is misery, most of the people endorse it and accept it, because that whatever the answer he has given, that is life is miserable, fits into our experience. So whatever fits into our experience, we can understand it well and accept it. But when Buddha said life is joy or bliss, we only hear it, we cannot understand it. That's why it doesn't sink into our heart. The reply, the answer given by the master that life is a joy, life is a bliss, it doesn't sink into our heart, and we hear it and we leave it, and we don't really understand it. See, the mind, the human mind is very mysterious. It finds ways to stick to its own self. Life is misery. Is it true? No, it is not true. The same energy which appears or which manifests as misery can also become a joy and bliss. So, when once your approach to life is positive, when you take every happening as divine will, naturally every happening turns into joy and bliss. But we are accustomed to escape and to overhear whatever the masters say about the life, and that is life is joyous and beautiful. But we don't accept that because it doesn't fit our experience in day-to-day life, and rather we question it. How is it possible? So it is possible. You can turn your life into a celebration, into a joyful event, provided if you can transform yourself, if you can transcend your negative tendencies, which are in fact only positive tendencies. But mind has got such an ability to remain as it is. It goes to temples, it becomes religious, it reads holy books, it finds the mind, find all ways to remain as it is, to substantiate its own state without attempting to transform itself. So friends, be aware. When you transform yourself under the guidance of a master, or when you understand the essence of the teaching of any master, you can transform your life of misery into a joyful and blissful celebration. The mind wants to be intellectual. It won't want to be an intelligent. When you're intelligent, you celebrate your life. But when you're intellectual, you try to convince yourself, and you will try to convince the others also about the change of the mind, which is not possible. So the mind is very cunning. So what is the criteria of a wise person? A person who has realized himself, who has realized the divinity, who has realized the existence of higher dimension or higher power or God. What is the criteria? The criteria is he makes himself joyful, blissful, and he carries a portable paradise wherever he goes. He spreads that fragrance of love, of joy and bliss. That is the only criterion. So, friends, be joyful, be blissful. Thank you.